Well, good morning, family. And, I'm very sorry for these past 9 days that each and every one of us have been put into a situation that we're in. And thank you for staying with the church and taking a stand. Sharon and I are very grateful for that. I'm supposed to be the numbers man for the movement. And a week ago Friday, I woke up and there were 160 churches in the family of God. And you know what? Today, there's still 160 churches in the family of God. And I appreciated, Christian, what you shared about numbers and projections. And I don't really care about the numbers. I care about the sheep. Yeah. And that people are taken care of. Yeah. For contribution, if you would, please turn to Matthew 22. It says this in Matthew 22, starting in verse 15. It's paying taxes to Caesar. It says, then the Pharisees, they went out, they laid a plan to trap him in his words. And they sent their disciples to him along with the Herodians. The teacher, they said, we know you're a man of integrity, and that you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. You aren't swayed by men, because you pay no attention to who they are. Tell us then, what's your opinion? Is it right to pay these taxes to Caesar or not? But Jesus, knowing their evil intent, said, you hypocrites, why are you trying to trap me? Show me the coin used for paying the tax. They brought him a denarius, and he asked them, whose portrait is this, and whose inscription? Caesar's, they replied. Then he said to them, you give to Caesar's what is his, and to God what is God's. And when they heard this, they were utterly amazed. So they left him and they went away. You know, you have two opposing groups joining forces against Jesus, the Pharisees and the Herodians. You know, they're attempting to trap the man through flattery. They said, we know you're a man of integrity. Integrity. This is what they used to describe Jesus. Yeah. Well, integrity is our moral compass. It guides us down a path of honor and dependability. You know, it keeps us from unethical behavior. Yeah. It means that you're not corrupt and you have character. You know, for me, it's one of the most important attributes as a human being you can possess. And this is the word they use to describe Jesus. Yeah. And he's in a no-win situation. Think about it. Pay the tax, you're an enemy of Israel and God's people. Don't pay the tax, you're an enemy of Rome. You know, Jesus, he knows what to do. And what's occurred this past week, they talk about no remedy. There's always a remedy with Jesus. And the church was stolen. It was a ruse. It was a trick. I'm a shepherd of the flock. I'm booted off every chat. I'm told, do not intrude our church service. We have private security. It's not about the numbers. It's about the disciples. It's about you and it's about me. You know, man, we've made mistakes along the way. I'm sorry. And all I know is this. When things are brought into the light, we deal with it. We deal with it biblically, and we have dealt with it swiftly. And it's just wrong what's happened. There's no reason to splinter off and do what's been done. There's not. There's no biblical foundation to do what's been done here. But what I like about Jesus is he kept his head. Just a couple chapters back in 17, he sent Peter off fishing because he knew he needed to pay the temple tax. And he says, just go fish, pick up the coin, pay the temple tax. You know, and here, now he's paying the government tax because he knows it's the right thing to do. And he knew in a very short time that they would turn against him and that the Romans were going to be the ones to pierce his hands and crucify him, but that didn't stop him from doing the right thing. He didn't rebel. You know, and he got the coin, and he goes, well, whose inscription's on it? Whose portrait? They go, Caesar's. He goes, pay to Caesar what you owe him. You know, it's interesting because Jesus should be the one that's stamped and engraved on each of our hearts. And I want to, Sharon will share here in a moment, but I want to say this in my closing. It's over in Isaiah 49. I always, in my heart, communion and contribution are inseparable. Yeah. They go together. Because of what we've been given, we must give back to God. And in Isaiah 49, verse 16, it says this, see, I have engraved you on the palm of my hand. And you talk about engraving on a coin and being righteous and giving back to the authorities. Jesus did that. He respected it. But you got to understand, everything comes back to the cross. It comes back to Jesus. It comes back for taking a stand. It comes back for doing the right thing. It's about integrity. I give you Sharon.
Yeah. Awesome. Wow. Well, I just want to say good morning, family. It is so good to be here. And I just, from the moment I walked in this morning, I just saw a lot of shining faces and a great fellowship. So many people were talking about their quiet times this morning. It really gave me a lot of peace. But I love that song that DaCosta and we all sing together that DaCosta led. I woke up this morning with my mind set on Jesus, right? And I have to tell you, I did wake up this morning with Jesus on my mind, but I also woke up this morning with salvation on my mind. Because today, 42 years ago, I was baptized as a disciple. Yeah. And it was a glorious day. And in the last probably 9 days, Michael and I have talked to so many disciples that are distressed and sad and just disturbed by what's going on. And even this morning, I have to be honest, I was wrestling in my heart, like, God, can we just get this reconciled? And we got in the car to go to church, and I said, Michael, I need to go change my pants. They split. I was like, what is going on? And I think that God was trying to symbolize that the kingdom is split, but God is in control. God is in control. I just had to share that because I can get sentimental about the disciples and the sheep that I love. I want us just to all be together, but I don't want my sentimentality to get in the way of God's righteousness. And you know, another thing that has really impacted me about this division is that we have 7,000 disciples in the mission field. We have more disciples in the mission field than we do in the United States. And they are dependent on our missions. They are dependent. And this faction talks about, you know, evangelizing the world, but they don't care about evangelizing the world when they've abandoned 7,000 disciples. You know, I think of Raul and Linda. I can't even look at Raul right now because I don't want to cry. But Linda and Raul have been on the mission field for 21 years. They love being in the mission field. They have been in Mexico City for several years, and there is a water shortage in Mexico. Sometimes they don't have water, and they have never, ever complained. They've never been entitled. They've never asked for more money. But I can share with you that our former leader of LA was the highest paid leader in our movement. Raul and Linda make half of what they make. And you can imagine Raul and Linda would be feeling like, what are we going to do? Are we going to be taken care of? And our answer is yes, God will provide. God will provide. And I keep thinking about this, what's happened in the last 9 days. I mean, who benefits from this? No one. No one benefits from this. And I love the midweek last Wednesday because Kristen talked about having fearless faith and the courage that we need, and that God will give us the courage. And the definition of courage is the ability to be obedient to God's will and purpose, even when facing difficulty and danger. And family, I do, not just the sisters, I want to call the family to call us to have the courage to give and not give in to the fears, emotions, sentimentality. We need to give, we need to have the faith, the courage, and the love to continue to take care of the family around the world. I love you all so much. Thanks for letting me share.
There's work to do. We have to defend the gospel. And I'm just grateful again, Sharon and I. Thank you for being here today. Please make sure that we all, each and every one of us, honor God today by giving back because we've been given so much. Let's pray.